the TV. So I'm going to be resilient and I'm going to push through. And I'll just get to look at my pretty PowerPoint up here. It has all sorts of fun things on it, like stars and the galaxies. And it was really beautiful. Wish you could see it. So we are live here at Unity of Springfield for our Sunday morning adult education. It is October 16th, 2022. Can you even believe it? We're halfway through October already. And today we're doing a discussion on the book Adventures in Resilience, Ignite the 12 Powers in You to Create a Radiant Life. And that is by Sharon Connors. Oh, I was like, and here's what the book looks like. You guys can't see it. I can see it. So we'll go ahead and, sorry. So I will tell you too, the book is written by Reverend Sharon Connors. She's a Unity minister who currently serves at Unity Spiritual Center in Sun City, Arizona. She served in Florida, San Francisco, San Diego, and Unity Village Chapel. She's also been on the board of Unity Worldwide Ministries and is a certified life coach. She has some other books under her authorship. And this book is one that is available on the Unity website. It is a Unity published work. Okay, so let's start out our morning with a little moment of prayer. Oh. Thank you for allowing us to be aware of the 12 powers of man that can bring so much depth to our human experience here on this plane. We join together today to explore and dive more deeply into the knowing that we are connected always and fully to divine source, that we are divine source. And so we say, amen. Okay, recovering here, my resilience skills, right? So the 12 powers, that is Charles Fillmore wrote the 12 powers of man, and our 12 powers are faith, strength, wisdom, love, power, imagination, understanding, will, order, zest, elimination, and life. And so Sue recently did a series on the 12 powers and went through all of those. So those should sound familiar. And so when we're talking about the 12 powers in connection to resilience and radiance, which is what Ms. Connors wrote this book about, is so resilience from the Wisdom Commons, which is an online site for educators and things. It's kind of like, instead of saying a Webster's Dictionary, the Wisdom Commons, is resilience is rooted a tenacity of spirit, a determination to embrace all that makes life worth living, even in the face of overwhelming odds. When we have a clear sense of identity and purpose, we are more resilient because we can hold fast to our vision of a better future. That sounds nice, right? We can hold fast to a vision of a better future. And then radiance from Collins Thesaurus, glow, happiness, delight, joy, brightness, luminosity. So what she is saying in this book, like if I had to nutshell it in one or two sentences, is she's saying that as we develop these 12 powers, if we focus in on developing and growing our connection to the 12 powers, then we gain this resilience to life because we are more connected to that vision of a better future. And so whatever circumstance is happening in the moment is not maybe so big as it would be without those 12 powers and the skills that we have from that. And that when we accomplish that kind of resilience to life, and when we're building these 12 powers, that we become the radiant light. So we become that glow, the happiness, the joy, the brightness, the luminosity that's going out into the world. So I liked this. Donald Mickenbaum, I always worry that I'm not saying things correctly, who's a founder of cognitive behavior therapy. So he says resilience is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant sources of stress, and that resilience involves behaviors, thoughts, and accompanying feelings that can be nurtured, developed, and learned. And so I think anything I've read about resilience, like that's always the kind of the cool thing about resilience, is every study that has been done on resilience indicators says you can learn them. You can build on skills that you already have to become more resilient to things within your environment. It's not you either have it or you don't. It's you start at some point on the continuum, and then you can grow and learn. And of course, from this perspective, Reverend Connors says the 12 powers provide us a way and a practice to evolve our natural born resilience into a radiant presence and character. So the 12 powers provide a system for soul growth, creating a life that is, as the apostle said, no longer storm-tossed by the difficulties of life and the challenges to your faith. And there's a really cool, she talks about this newer term, aging strong. And it's become the focus of some healthcare systems where they're trying to promote people aging strong is this term. And so what they've done is they've started doing studies and following people and, doing surveys and all of those things that they do, following people long term to see what's impacting their ability to stay healthy and stay feeling active and all of those things. And so what they're saying is that factors that contribute to staying vibrantly alive as we age, what they're doing is they're dispelling the notion that there's an automatic and unstoppable decline. So they see that is not the story for every person as they age. Spirituality inspires purpose, being optimistic and engaging socially. And a committed spiritual practice results in being spiritually fit and astonishingly resilient. And this really made me think, we've talked about this before, that we look around this congregation and we have people that when they say their age in earth years, people are surprised, because we have some individuals in this community that are living quite actively. And, I think of like Norma still ballroom dancing in her mid 80s and Dwayne still going out and running 5Ks, and Stella being active in everything that she did. Like, we have so many people. And so I was like, well, this kind of goes along with that. Like, people who are in a spiritual practice, who have, they're engaging socially in a community of, people and thoughts that are creating this spiritual fitness and resilience within them, and they are healthier and more active into their later years. I read a story just this week on a woman. I think she was like the oldest woman. I don't know. She lived to be like 150 or somewhere close to there. Anyway. And one of the funny things was when she was like 97, there was some reporter that was interviewing her, and he said, "I'd really like to come follow up with you in a year." And she looked at him and said, "You're young enough. You should still be around." And I love that. That was just, they said she always was just, like she just assumed she would be there. And then finally, maybe it was only 125, because it seems like as she got closer, someone asked her, so what does your future hold? And she said, I think it's getting shorter. Like she finally got to a point in her 120s that she thought, well, this physical body is maybe ready to be done with its experience. But I just love that she, well, you seem to be young enough. You might still be around in a year. At 97, like I would love to be in that space at 97 to think like, oh yeah, I got lots of time, and I've got time and energy, or I've got energy to still be active and do things. I also heard a presentation within the last couple of weeks. I don't know if people may have heard of the Give 5 program that was started here in Springfield, and it's encouraging retirees to get out and volunteer at different organizations. And so I was listening to a presentation about that getting started in other communities, and it was an interesting thing. There is a study that showed isolation is as harmful to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Wow.
I know. And so the presenter was talking about how, through COVID, we had isolation and we saw people start to have bigger health worries, right, when they were isolated. But then that's also an issue with a lot of people as they retire and move out of the workforce, if they don't stay engaged in things. And that's part of it, staying engaged socially, engaged in a practice. Then they start to see those health issues. And so that study was saying, again, it's not this automatic and unstoppable decline so much as it is symptoms of the changes in life that you make in that retirement age of not going to work, not maybe being engaged as much with, social activities, and people not exercising your brain and staying active in things. So it's interesting stuff there. And Reverend Connors stated that, when she began to really meditate on and act from the 12 spiritual capacities, she didn't get as emotionally tripped up by what others did or didn't do, what they said or didn't say, and she became more aware of the choice that we all have. And she says that that's the choice to either give our power away to people, places, and circumstances, or not. And that is our choice. Each time we do that, each time we make that, we've made that choice to either put our power outside of ourselves onto whatever that thing is, or to know that it's coming from within. And she says our spiritual power is greater than any worry or fear and can dissolve resentments. That radiance is a magnetic field of positive energy. It is divine source in us, radiating outward, dispelling darkness. It is, as the Gospel John states, the light that shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome it. And she says we each have the capacity to release light. Just as Jesus said, I am the light of the world, and also you are the light of the world. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. And so that's, again, the radiance part, that as we step into these spiritual principles, as we're growing and we become the person who quickly moves from, anger to love or whatever, that we start to shine our light more brightly out into the world. I was really proud of this slide, guys. You're not even getting to see it. I was like, it looks so pretty still on the, so the diamond, this is from Charles Fillmore from the Atom Smashing Power of the Mind. And he says, the diamond owes its brilliance to the perfect arrangement of the innumerable little prisms within it, each of which refracts the light of the other. Man's body is made up of centers of consciousness, of light, and if arranged so that they radiate the light within you, you will also shine like a diamond. So in other words, the light of any of these 12 powers shining in and through you helps others find the light in themselves, and they will want what you have, that they'll be drawn to that. And so I was just thinking through this, and I thought it would be fun to ask, so who do you know that shined a light so bright that it impacted your spiritual journey? James? Oh.
I mean, a lot of people, but the one that has had the most influence is Louise Hay for me. So, and she taught me that if I allowed myself to change the way I think about my life and about the world, that my life would change, and that it was all about, those patterns within my own consciousness. And once I was willing to change those, my life has changed and is continually changing. And it provides me with a tremendous amount of confidence for the future as well. So
nice. Anyone else have someone that they just think, oh, that is the person, or that was the time in my life when someone shined a light so bright?
She just walked in the door.
She is, yes. Sue just walked
Sue,
in.
yes, Sue just walked in, and we all went, she's shining her light. There she is. Yeah, and so even if we don't say it, you probably can think of someone. Dee, do you have something? Yay.
Yes, I do. My first community minister, the first church I went to, supported me through becoming a licensed teacher, and just followed my journey and supported me in every way. And she taught me the 5 basic principles and the 12 powers and all that stuff.
Nice. And so those are some really big ones, but can we think of also, and you don't have to say this, but I'm just thinking through, because it talks about in the book that, sometimes you're shining your light, like big light, and sometimes you're just kind of walking through life and your light is shining, and maybe you don't even realize, or maybe someone else doesn't realize how just a little bit of light in your darkness made you have one different thought or think that something was possible. So it can be the big things, like the big moments, but it could also be just enough light that you make one different choice in your day. And maybe it's not a life-altering choice, but it's one step in the direction of where you want to be versus one step away from where you're trying to get to. And so they also say when we explore the 12 powers and develop them, we find gifts that we can bring as inspiring character qualities to our world. So we become powerful instruments in healing the world because we have healed our own heart and soul. We develop the capacity to be a healing presence in the lives of others. And these are the treasures of the kingdom within. And so Reverend Connors says, when we're living a life committed to the spiritual practice of developing our 12 powers, and some of this comes from Charles Fillmore as well, that we can live from the kingdom of heaven now. So that's the whole, the thing, in realizing, and that's kind of what we're talking about if you're reading Eric Butterworth's book, as we go along with the small groups and all of those things, like living from that place, the kingdom of heaven now, right here, every moment, understanding that we have the power to do that. That through our connection, we discover that we intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. And so I was thinking about that too, going through, thinking about where I started in my spiritual journey when I first came to Unity and where I am in this present moment, and thinking about situations. I don't know if any of you have had this experience, but there's been things that have come up like as I've been going through my journey, and it's like my body wants to have a different response than what my brain is having. It's almost like my body is like, oh, we should be angry about this, or we should be upset about this, or we should be distraught about this. And then there's this other part of me that's going, okay, I'm seeing it through different eyes, or like trusting that it's all going to work out, or knowing. feeling the peace of connection, going, oh no, you don't have to freak out about this. Like we've got you. We're it's all working together, and you're good. Just take a breath. And so that really got me, was just the situations that used to baffle us, things that would be like a 3-day, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Is now maybe a 3-minute, like, oh no, I've got this. And how much better that feels, right? Like that feels so much more peaceful. It feels, you know that connection is there. And then that's part of us shining our light to others as well. If they see like, oh, this situation, this circumstance is happening, and this person is going, hang on, let me breathe for a second and think through it instead of going into an all-out panic, then that might be the thing that goes, okay, how did that happen? Like, I want more of that. How do you get there? How do you do that?